Hello and welcome. You are watching Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live. I am your co-host, Andy Krutzinger, on this April the 17th? 18th, 2023. We should start saying the day at the beginning of these. Not that they can't just read it on the YouTube link. I'm here with my partner in crime, Hunter Moeller, showing off the tats today.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Can the camera get them?
Nope.
No. Well,
unless I raise my arms up, but
you raise your arm. Yeah, there you go. And Nikki Brackets, Nick Steffens over here. We need to get
still
him.
call him Nikki Brackets.
Yeah, I figured we'd call him Nikki Brackets until maybe, I don't know, a couple months at least.
Next March.
Maybe next March. That should at least be an on and off nickname until next March. We need to get him his title belt. We'll figure that out. Oh, I know how we could get the title belt. We could just go steal it because they're doing some pro wrestling thing in Ottumwa in a couple weeks. Free advertising on that because they dropped the poster off to me. So why don't we just go win it for Nikki Brackets? Let's go do it.
So
challenge whoever the champion is right now. Didn't say on the poster who's the champion. But anyway, that has nothing to do with what we're doing today. But we are here. We're a high school and college sports show in Southeast Iowa, and you will find us on Washington Live's Facebook, Mount Pleasant and Fairfield Live's Facebook, Washington Live's YouTube, and Spotify. And by the way, if you're on our Twitter right now at Union Sports page, we always go ahead and pin the YouTube link anyway.
I'm on it right now.
And that was my cue to remind Hunter, I forgot my laptop today, which sometimes I just like to be natural and not have my laptop here, but today I just legitimately forgot it, so I'll be reading some stuff off my phone. But we've been busy because it's spring sports, which is probably the busiest. You'd say busiest, Hunter?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's because there's, with like the four, sports that we cover, there's usually, four things, sometimes three things going on in one town at a night, and at a night, especially if Washington had tennis, that would really make it really busy too. So
yeah, that's true. I always feel like I almost feel bad because if there's, let's say, three things in Fairfield, then I'm at, if I have Fairfield that day, then I'm there for 20 minutes of one thing, and then I drive to the next thing, and then the next thing, and so I always feel like, man, I hope people don't think I'm showing up to the tennis meet, taking two pictures, and then going home and playing N64 or something. But we're gonna talk a little bit some soccer, and we had a rivalry games yesterday between Fairfield and Mount Pleasant. Hunter, you were among other things yesterday at the girls game for a while. So tell me how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, Mount Pleasant taking on Fairfield. Obviously, Panthers looking at the season brought a lot back from last year. One loss we talked about in the past weeks. The one loss to Washington, and those two teams going to overtime about every time they play. So, really stout Mount Pleasant team. Trojans, kind of on the come up. Rough start to the season thus far. Mount Pleasant wins this one 6-0. Really stellar first half offensively and defensively by the Panthers. At the half, it was 5-0. Ellie Manning kicked off the scoring for the Panthers in this one. Tori Wilson went on to score a pair as well in that first half, along with Sharice Huerta, and Haley Parrott ended off that half with the final goal to make it 5-0 at the half. And then, in the second half, it wasn't as dominant a performance offensively, but, Mount Pleasant just kind of controlled the game, without kind of, pressuring because they were already at 5-0. And then Huerta was able to add one more goal in that second half, and that kind of put the game away. Fairfield got some decent looks in that second half there, but really, the damage had been done, and, Mount Pleasant takes it, like I said, 6-0. They moved to 4-2 on the season. So, I mean, they're looking pretty good. Just a couple tough losses there, and then the Fairfield's 0-5, still searching for their first win. But yeah.
Mount Pleasant, I've noticed, has spread the goals out a lot this year. The last couple of years, they've had, when you look at their goal sheet, you've had one or two kids that have been way above everybody else, but they have those younger kids are kind of moving in there, the Wilsons and the Wardens of the world. So
yeah, and I think we kind of saw that last year. Obviously, Ellie Manning was kind of the go-to, and we're seeing, what I've noticed from their game is they have a really nice kind of 1-2 game. They do a little like kind of it's like almost a give and go. And Sharice Huerta is really, I mean, she was great last year too, but she's really, I think improved a lot coming into this season, and then Tori Wilson obviously as well. And I think they're both only sophomores, so
yeah, they are.
And then Haley Parrott coming in first year. She's made some noise for that team and been big so far. And I believe she's a junior, so Yeah, I mean, the Panthers are looking good. Obviously, their 2 losses have been close ones. I mentioned the Washington one. I can't remember the other one on the top of my head, but
Burlington.
Burlington.
The only
There's another great team. So
yeah. So that's the girls. The girls standings are they're tight. There's been a lot of close games. The boys haven't had as much of that. I was at Fairfield last night, and it was a carbon copy of the game you watched, except a different school won it. Fairfield 6-0 over Mount Pleasant boys soccer, and that was a little bit surprising to me. It wouldn't have been if you said at the very beginning of the year that Fairfield was going to beat Mount Pleasant 6-0.
Yep.
Because we thought that Fairfield would be a step or two ahead of Mount Pleasant. Anyway, but they were both coming off of games against Burlington, and Burlington had beaten Fairfield at Fairfield 3-2. And then Mount Pleasant beat Burlington 1-0. So that was a common enemy that they had just played. So I was expecting a closer game, but Fairfield is really, you really have seen them sharpen up a little bit here. They did a lot of mixing up their forwards and midfielders, partly because of a big injury from last year. And so they seem to kind of be getting into the groove. I apologize to the person who's calling me right now. I'm going to decline your call. 319 number. But so we had I actually showed up right after tennis. So it was already 4-0 early in the game. Tate Allen had 2 early goals. Andrew Tietza and Jackson Allen both had a goal early there. It was 5-0 at halftime, and in the second half, you got another one out of Jackson Allen. So he had his a 2-goal game, and Tate Allen had a 2-goal game. I heard him joking after the game that his the number on his jersey keeps him from getting a hat trick, because I believe he was number 2. So I might need a jersey swap on that one. Mount Pleasant had a few shots. The second half, you kind of saw them play a little bit closer to where they were when they played against Burlington. And soccer is the one thing we'll stay at for a little bit longer at a time, soccer and track, because you kind of have to keep track of them a little bit. Right. During the Burlington game, I was like, Mount Pleasant looks like the better team. They're getting the better shots. During the first half of this Fairfield game, you could really tell that Fairfield had a leg up, and the through balls were getting where they needed to be, they were getting shot after shot. Second half, Mount Pleasant was able to hang with them there, and it looked more like a competitive back-and-forth game. But that was a big one for Fairfield, who has only lost in these conference games.
1-0 Washington last week.
1-0 to Washington. They lost 4-0 to Fort Madison, but it was close throughout till the second half, and that kind of pulled away. So I think Fairfield's a very dangerous team. They have a lot of weaponry all around the field. So, and as I said there, Tate Allen's been their main scorer, and he's a new kid to the sport. So, I don't know how new to the sport. He's new to high school soccer. So, you'd often think that a team like that is probably be the one that takes big steps of improvement, although you could say that for Mount Pleasant too, because they are young freshmen and sophomores. So
I know. I think we're kind of seeing that the cycle there. Obviously Fairfield's got some young guys. Jackson Allen. He's one of their go-tos, and then obviously the big injury to Drew Toohill. That really hurt them.
Yeah,
especially on the offensive end, because last year, obviously we kind of saw that. How Fairfield showed flashes that. We talking quite a bit about like the upper echelon kind of, and it almost felt like Fairfield was on the cusp this year. And obviously you mentioned the 4-0 loss, but to Fort Madison, but the Bloodhounds are rated second or third right now, but I guess my point is that Fairfield's right there, like you kind of said, and it feels like it could go either way, with any of the SEC schools, just because they've shown that. They've given themselves an opportunity, especially against, Washington, who's, I believe, number 8 or was number 8.
Yep. I don't know when the new rankings come out or came out. We should probably start throwing those in the paper, because I think we missed them last week, and we got some teams in there.
Yep.
Washington last night had Keokuk. Now Washington, both the boys and the girls, standing so far has been kind of one of the cream of the crop, as they say. One of the top 2 or 3 teams. Keokuk's been struggling a little bit. That was a 7-0 win from the Washington boys last night, and a 4-1 win from the Washington girls. So a pretty dominant night for the old Demons last night. Let's see. What will we have here for goal scorers? I was pulling up my story here. I just got done doing this game. Another shout out for Will Gilchrist Brock for the Boys, I wanted to say, here we go. Edwin Cortez scored 2 goals. They were both in the 62nd minute. So that shows how quickly they were getting off. Joshua Perez scored a goal on that. Emmanuel Ramundo had a goal on that, I believe.
Sean Westfall Edwards.
Yep, Sean Westfall Edwards had one on the 4 minutes, and Freddie Aguilar had one. So this is the life of no computer. I'm scrolling through my and they spread out the goals a lot.
Yeah,
it was 3-0 at halftime, and then they scored 4 more in the second half. So
what I've noticed from Washington, which is probably why they're ranked inside the top 10, is that they do really well at sharing the ball. It's like they never are selfish with it. And they have great ball skill too.
They do. They have great ball skill
on both sides. I mean, they're 6-1, and mentioned Fort Madison being number 3, and they went 1-0, I believe it was, with them. So, right now, and the scary part about Washington is I think they have like 4 seniors.
Yeah,
a lot. The majority of their starting 11 is, I would say, sophomores and juniors. Kind of made up of mostly around those 2 classes. So, I mean, looking at the season and looking ahead, for Washington, it's really, really kind of impressive, and it's going to be pretty crazy to see what they do next year too.
Yeah. And I think they're a real. The Washington boys are a real threat to make it. We do not have a lot of teams in soccer from the Union area make it to state. Fairfield came close a couple different times. Fort Madison's kind of been the blocker in the SEC lately, and there's always the Pellas of the world that they end up playing. Later in the way. By the way,
I think we should probably shout out some of our small schools. I know Hillcrest Academy. I think is number 2.
Yeah. Hillcrest got a good team. But we have Mid Prairie split games the other day. Columbus WMU definitely won in girls the other day. New London Danville. And Waco plays Sigourney in a couple of days. So we've got so many soccer teams running around that, it's hard to keep track of them. I was going to say on that Washington game, that was a 3-1 lead for the Demons at halftime, and then they scored 1 more. I believe they had Jocelyn Carter and Maya Murphy made it 2-0, and then it was 2-1 for right before halftime, and Alex Murphy found one in front of the goal and scored there, and Kia Cook never got within 1 goal again, so... Yeah, there we go.
And for the Washington girls, I mean, it's kind of the same story for the boys. Their 1 loss is Fort Madison as well.
And which was penalty shots.
Yeah.
So they have not lost in regulation yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, for them, looking at their season, they got to be feeling pretty good.
Definitely.
Especially getting another shot at Fort Madison, too.
Definitely. Yeah. So that's soccer, which is one of our busier sports right now, but we are going to take a little commercial break. Yep. And when we get back, we have track and golf and tennis and all the other springtime funnery. So stick with us for 2 minutes. We'll be back.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Tammy takes the time and has the personal interest in each one of us. I don't worry about what's going to happen because I know my policy is taken care of.
She pulls what I need and puts it together, which is the program I get from her.
Every year she calls around September or so and says, there's changes again, and I'm going to do the best thing for you. It's been perfect. She does a great job.
We are back, Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live, here in jolly old Southeast Iowa. If you've just kind of stumbled upon our show today, tell everybody about it. You know, we've been doing this show for the entire school year, and still I hear people, I'll be like, yeah, I said on our show the other day.
And they're like, what show?
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. So, yeah, if you like the show, tell people about it. We have fun. We run bracket challenges, which is fun, obviously.
We should make some. I guess we should have made some picks for the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I should. Well, I would have been wrong because I would have said the Warriors are going to win again. Clearly,
They're going to get swept.
they're going to get swept.
I don't know.
So, did you
I wouldn't be
see?
surprised if they come back,
See, there was a stomping.
Draymond Green. Yeah,
who
did you see Sabonis who grabbed his ankle? Though now people are saying that.
Yeah, that should have been a flagrant foul. Yeah, if anyone stayed up to watch the NBA last night, there was a little scuffle.
It's a good game though.
What say you on stomping someone who's grabbing your leg?
I mean, I don't know. It's Draymond though that makes it worse.
Yeah, I used to like Draymond. Then he took the LSU side of that Caitlin Clark thing I went on a rant about a couple weeks ago, and
Just completely changed it.
Today I had the tweet up on my Twitter. It said it was the video of him stomping and something like, "Oh, the moral high ground of that took that guy Caitlin Clark. Here he is." And I thought about it and I said, "No, you know what? I'm gonna be the bigger man and not tweet out." Also,
You've been tweeting about Shaq too. He brought up something about that too.
yeah, and Shaq is going to jail or whatever because of that crypto scam. There I am again slandering because that's all I saw it on the internet. So anyway, that's a little bit of a trail off, but basically, yeah. We're going to talk about a little girls golf where there was no stomping or crypto money scams, whatever. Mm-hmm. And you were at the Mount Pleasant Golf and Country Club.
Yep.
For I haven't read your story to see who won, but I got a pretty good guess. Let's see if I'm right.
Washington won.
Oh, there we go. They've been winning everything in golf.
Yeah, I don't think they have. Well, they haven't lost a SEC matchup yet, and team standings, and they pretty much almost medalist every time. But besides the fact, the Demons put up 175 points for the top team spot. Fairfield finished third with 202. Mount Pleasant fourth with 223. Leading the way from Washington for most of the season. McKenna Conrad gets the medalist honors, I believe, the last two times. She's come up one shot short or in a playoff has lost that way. So
to Lauren Briggs each time?
Yep. But this time around, McKenna Conrad takes the medalist honor with 41 for the low. Teammate Kaylin Long, who's always been third the last couple of weeks, it seems like, finishes second with a 42, one stroke behind. And she got that on card back. I didn't look at the scores, but I'm assuming it was Briggs that she had a card back against there. Adeline Long finished with a 45. Mallory Johnson, 47. Haley Mitchell, 48. And then Macy Johnson shot a 48 as well. For Fairfield, Viola Welsh, the Trojans number one, shot a 45. Maya Toohill and Macy Rayburn followed behind with 52s. Sarah Kretz shot a 53. Maggie Rayburn ended with the 56, and Kate Apteat a 57. For Mount Pleasant, Kylie Walderback led with a 51. Elena Holkamp shot a 56 in the meet. Ashlyn Buenkamp shot a 57, and Felicity Metcalf shot a 59. And then, so coming up, Washington Mount Pleasant will be at the Oskaloosa Invitational on Thursday, and then Fairfield will be heading over, or I guess up, over and up to Kelowna for the Hawk Invitational, hosted by Union Area Mid Prairie. So,
yes. I was going to ask you, do you think they're doing these SEC meets every single week if they're getting tired of each other because they're playing with the same playing partners?
I know
every single meet. So I wonder if they're excited to go.
And I kind of forgot. Do they play like twice around? How do they do that?
They play once around, I believe. I don't think they make it a second time around. But the regular season is at least once around for boys and girls.
Because I'm pretty sure they win everywhere, I think.
Yeah, because then they have bigger tournaments and they have to do the conference, which is all together again.
Right.
Their state qualifiers pretty much always together. So I think they only go.
Golf season goes pretty
I'm picturing the spreadsheet that Colin Stark does for the boys, and in my brain it only goes to about next week or the week after when the conference regular season's over. So
which is kind of crazy. Golf season I feel like is the fastest.
Yeah, everything in the spring really just it hits you really hard,
Drake Relays is next week.
The Drake Relays, Drake Relays is literally next week, and
then
that's
2
the
weeks
beginning of
after
the
that?
postseason.
Yeah, and
so.
2 weeks after that is because they do the conference, and then
You got conference, state qualifier,
and then state, which is like all in 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, so spring sports really flies.
Yeah.
We're going to literally have like 5 episodes of this before the end of spring sports.
Right.
The boys were at Washington, and the Demon boys had been, they'd won the first 4 SEC meets, so you got to think they're going to Washington. They're not going to drop this one, and they do not. They shot a 162 to win that one. Fairfield was quite a bit back with the 184. Mount Pleasant, just by a few strokes, got 4th to Fort Madison. So Fort Madison, Mount Pleasant, and Keokuk have been pretty close, and the Bloodhounds were able to nip the Panthers on that one. So Washington's Rajan Roth, Andrew Conrad, 38 and 39, the only 2 under 40s on the day. Roman Roth, 40, Isaac Vetter, 45, Luke Beanbossom, 46, and T. Meyer, 47. So you could have taken your 2 top kids off that score list, and you still would have got a win from the Trojans.
Right.
Fairfield, according to the sheet, their groupings were a little bit mixed up. Max Wheaton was playing as the number 2 golfer, but he was the number 1 golfer on the team with a 42. Sam Wheaton, 46. Dev Eisner and Austin Lisk were both at 48 to round out the scorers there. Now Christensen, 50, and Archer Kruger finished at 57. So the Trojans have been the by far number 2 behind Washington all year.
Yep.
They almost beat them once.
Yeah, that 4 strokes I think was the difference.
Yeah, so
last week.
We'll see if they can. They just have to be playing well on the conference day and hope for some hiccups. It's hard to get some hiccups from Washington though because all 6 are so good. Mount Pleasant, they ended up with a 209. By the way, the Panthers did. Nick Matheny once again led the way of the 46, a little worse than his usual. Nate Disming with a 48 and Reese Kaufman with a 53, so they were all kind of close together, but it took a little while to get to the 4th score. They were in the 60s, everybody else was. Isaac Zillman ended up being the 4th score on the day with a 62, Ben Mader 63, and Grant Willem with a 66. So Mount Pleasant has a little bit of a jumble with the 4, 5, 6, 7 area of their golf team to try and get that 4th score, because those top 3 are usually up there with the Demons and Trojans a little bit closer, but that little gap, if Mount Pleasant can close that, maybe they can start to compete for the boys golf stuff. But yeah, and they just have, let's see, they've played in everywhere but Fairfield, is that correct? They haven't played Fairfield yet for the SEC. So that's their last one, and then we'll get into some bigger tournaments. That would be this Thursday. Fairfield, there is a lot going on in Fairfield this Thursday.
Yeah.
It's a packed day. But I like that. I like when everything's in one town because
you just bounce around now.
Yeah, if it's spread around, it's harder for us to bounce around. And you got into it a little bit ago, but I will be at the Mount Pleasant track meet tonight. And how you feeling about? We're pretty darn close to the Drake Relays coming up. How you feeling about track season being already basically into the postseason?
I mean, I'm excited just because I like the. I don't think you can give your 2 cents on this too, but like one of the coolest places to go, watch like any kind of sporting event we cover is definitely the Drake Relays or state track. I think it's just because
Drake Stadium.
You get to see like so many different athletes from every school in the state come together. So for me, that's one of my favorite events. And like we kind of joked about, said we wouldn't have as many athletes going to Drake or state.
Yeah, because we had so many last year that were seniors. We thought we'd have a little break.
Yeah, and we've kind of seen what happens is those kids that are now seniors and even some underclassmen come in and perform well enough to get a ticket to Drake, and we still got to wait for state. But I mean, if everything plays out, if they're making the blue oval stand or the blue standard, then a good chance that they're going to be heading to state because that's basing it off of everybody in the state. So, so we have a lot of athletes. Going to be interesting to see what happens here in the next couple of weeks, especially with Drake next week, and then looking ahead to state. Yeah,
for sure. And we've got. I actually like that about track. I get excited for track the first couple of meets, but then I'm pretty much ready to get to the postseason stuff because that's when it feels like it really matters now.
Right.
Those legs get a little more wobbly when you're jumping over the hurdles when stuff's on the line. So I was at the Denny White Relays on Thursday as part of a pretty busy day, and there was a rarity at the Denny White Relays. We had a couple of very close finishes at the top of the standings. One of those with the Mount was at the girls' standings. Mount Pleasant and Clear Creek Amana were trading wins all day. By the way, Fairfield and Washington were not at this one for the girls. In fact, the only Union area team we had there was Mount Pleasant, so no Mid Prairie, no New London, no anybody else. But MP 184 and Clear Creek Humana 183. They won the meet by 1 point, which is even crazier to me that it was such a high. Like 184 and 183 is a lot of points. Those two teams were winning a lot of events. So Andy Scott was a double winner in the sprints and anchored a relay to kind of anchor, no pun intended, the Panthers on that. And then in the boys standings, first off in the Class A boys, Washington was third with 114 and Mount Pleasant was fourth with 113. So another 1 point deal there. In fact, the top two teams were CCA was 139 and Liberty scored 130. So all four of those teams were pretty close to the top, pretty spread out with the wins. And then on the B side, Mediapolis 149, and you know who got pretty darn close to Meepo, Van Buren County 126. In fact, they only won one event on the day, but they had so much
third, I remember.
depth that the Warriors looked pretty good. What?
No, I was just saying, I've seen them run at Fairfield, and they the boys side, right?
Yep.
They have a lot. Like they only had, like you mentioned, a couple, like 2 wins maybe, but they had so many like second and thirds.
Yeah.
So it adds up. That was kind of my point. But.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. The by the way, I wanted to say that the sprint medley team was the one winner for Van Buren County. Bryce Milkland, Lucas Fett, Dominic Miredo, and Anthony Duncan. Anthony Duncan, who we had a nice chat with at Drake Stadium last year. He
after the 400 hurdles
there. So that was Van Buren County got to flex their muscle a little bit in a more packed area. I was able to. I got pretty proud of the picture I got of Cade Benjamin of New London. He was their only winner, clearing 6.7. I almost saw him clear 6.9 on the high jump. So a fun time at Mount Pleasant. And for some reason, Mount Pleasant hosts a lot of track meets, and we're going to another one today, and I think they have another one after that next week or so.
Yep.
And then is Fairfield on Thursday for track too?
I believe so.
It is a busy.
Just hop in for a score on the girls' side. Washington and Fairfield were at the Eddyville-Blakesburg Rocket Relays last Thursday. Washington took the win, 142 points. Trojans followed behind with 89 points. That was good enough for third. They were competing against Eddyville-Blakesburg, obviously hosting North Polk, Des Moines Christian, North Maska, and Sheraton.
Sheraton.
All took part in that one. So, you want me to run through the winners, or do you just want me to?
You could say a couple. I didn't run through all my winners, but I have a point to make afterwards.
I'll just run through all the winners. So Iris Dahl, mentioned that name, cross country, winner in the 800 meter. Let's see here. Allie Reese wins the discus for the Demons there. See here, go through this. That was all Washington's winners. Let's see if they have to go through my story.
They got a lot of second and thirds, didn't they?
Yeah, a lot of second and thirds there. I believe they're. Let's see here. Fairfield. We'll jump down to Fairfield. Kai Robinson won the 100 meter dash, and then Carly Seeley picked up a first place finish in the 3,000 meter run for the Trojans there, and that was all the winners. They also had quite an abundance of second place, third place there as well. So
I wonder if Fairfield's going to sneak up a little bit when the conference meet because they've been lower than Mount Pleasant, Washington for sure this year in girls. Obviously, they lost a lot of seniors, but you mentioned Robertson and Seeley, and their shuttle hurdle team is very good. Mallory Lyon's still one of the best hurdlers in the girls' action. So I wonder when you get into the conference meet, when you whittle it down, I wonder how close they're going to be. Because so far this year, Mount Pleasant, Washington have kind of risen above a little bit in the girls' area. They seem to be the favorites going to the conference championship, which is in a couple weeks. And if I could think about it, let's see, can my brain go back in time long enough to remember where conference will be in track this year? Where were we last year for the conference championship? Was it in Mount Pleasant? It was in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, because I was at the small school in Waco.
That's right. Look at our brains working. So what's alphabetically after Mount Pleasant? Washington, right? So it should be in Washington this year.
Yep.
Fact check me on that at Southeast Iowa, Southeast Conference IA.org.
Our ABCs. That would be good. That would
that's right.
That would have been a good title for
Fairfield,
Twitter.
Fort Mass, and Keokuk. Those are all before Mount Pleasant and Burlington. Yeah, Washington. It's in Washington. Write it down. Just show up. Don't even look at the schedule. Andy got it right. Just show up at Washington on Conference Championship Day.
Right.
We still have some tennis to talk about, but we're going to take a little commercial break. So stick with us. Enjoy our sponsors and what they have to offer, and we will be back in 2.5 minutes. I remembered. See you soon.
Protection is important, especially when you're talking about your dreams, which is why we're going to keep you covered with plans that can save you up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. That's protection.
Family owned and operated by Andy and Sarah Ross, Ross Auto has been your vehicle repair and maintenance headquarters since 1935. We specialize in all makes of cars and light-duty trucks. With our variety of available services, let us help you keep rolling and your vehicle operating efficiently. Services include general auto repair, alignments, brakes, fuel injection, and more. Schedule your appointment today at 319-653-5656. That's 319-653-5656. Bring the kids and share the memories from steam engines, antique cars and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Maybe your memories are of great food from the North Village to the Log Village, or going to one of the amazing concerts. This is the place where memories are made. Make plans now to enjoy the history of the past at the 2023 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 31st through September 4th in Mount Pleasant. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
Unbelievable amount of devastation. I've never seen anything like it.
We had a beautiful barn that was gone in 20 minutes.
Farm Bureau stepped up right away and said, hey, we got you and we'll be there for you.
We were taken care of. Now we could get on to repairing and rebuilding.
I tell everybody about Farm Bureau.
We're fortunate to say we have good coverage with good people doing it.
Contact Farm Bureau agents Tony Starr and Mike Welcher in Mount Pleasant today.
Welcome back, Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live. I'm still chewing on something, and I'll tell you why. You know what this is, Hunter?
Chocolate bunny.
The last bite of my Easter chocolate
Last
bunny.
bite, best bite.
Oh, yeah, I did I don't know if it is last bite, best bite. I don't think that's true with chocolate bunnies. I think it's first bite, best bite, and then slowly but surely you start to feel bad about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right. You're like, this is so good, and then by the end, you're like, why did I eat all that?
I take it slow, and last week I was rolling through Fairfield, and it was one of those hot days. I think I definitely had tennis that day, and boys tennis, and I stupidly brought it along with me, and so it was a little bit disfigured because it melted in the car. But speaking of tennis, we got some tennis. You want me to start us off on this one, Hunter?
Why not? Jump
start
into
off the last two. By the way, you're watching Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live, as you know. As I said, along with some soccer last night, I was at some girls tennis. Girls tennis in the SEC has been pretty competitive. I mean, there have been a lot of like 5-4, 6-3 scores. And I was at another one last night. Fairfield, 5-4 losers to Fort Madison. And a matchup to where 1 through 6 and 1 through 3 on the doubles. It was pretty close throughout. So they got winners out of Maddie Greiner at number 3, Emma Windland at number 4, and Lola Hatchett at number 6. I believe those are the 3 pictures I chose for my story. Oh, well, that was perfect. Smart. That was good luck on my part that I got the 3 singles winners. Greiner won 8-3. Windland won 9-7. So that was the longest lasting singles match. And Hatchett won 8-5. So they went 3-3 in the singles. Sydney Wells lost to number 1 to Fort Madison's Molly Knipe, who's been a number 1 for them for a long time. She might be the conference champion this year.
She's playing pretty well.
So we'll see on that. And then Chatika Adhikari, 8-4 loss at number 4, and Una Carter an 8-2 loss, number 5. So there you go. My brain was trying to math that out, and I thought you couldn't win. You couldn't have an 8-4 and an 8-2, but that's not true. This is tennis. I was on another sport. I was like, that doesn't add up. Doubles wise, Windland Akari won 8-6 in the number 2 match. They needed 2 to win the match, the game.
The match.
And they could not quite do that. Wells and Grant are 8-1 losers in the number 1 game. And then Carter and Hatchet, 8-5 losers in number 3. So the boys did win. We don't have final results on that yet, but they did win 8-1. So the Fairfield boys rolled on pretty easily there, but a split for Fort Mass. We'll see if they can knock them off later in the year.
Yeah. On the girls' side, Mount Pleasant, which is where I was at, played host Notre Dame. A non-SEC, non-conference, non-SEC matchup for the Panthers in this one. Tough out for Mount Pleasant in this one. Still searching for the first win on the season. They come up short to the Nikes, 8-1 in this one. The one victory for Mount Pleasant on the night came from Bethany Drury in the number 5 match. She downed the Nikes' Carly Klein 8-3 for the lone Panther win. Eliana Situmi Young fell in the number 1 match 8-4 to Elizabeth Hama. Mary Kate Peterson and Victoria Smith were topped in both the number 2 and number 3 matches 8-1 each. They fell to Breck McVeigh and Brianna Briggs of the Nikes. Ava Rounceville was bested 8-2 by Notre Dame's Emily Suitsman. In the number 6 match, Audrey Richmond was defeated by Isabel Callison 8-4. Down in the doubles, Situmi Young and Rounceville were defeated by Beggs and Klein 8-4. Peterson and Smith were defeated by Hama and Stuntsman 8-4 as well. And then in the final number 3 doubles match, Drury and Richmond fell to McVeigh and Callison 8-4 as well. So tough out for the Panthers in this one. They've played some good matches throughout the season. Just haven't been able to get over that hump to get the first win. But a lot of tennis yet to be played for them, and Notre Dame played well. So
yeah, they just have to have a couple players break out a little bit. You notice in the lower matches they're usually a lot closer. They win a lot of those lower matches.
Yeah, they do,
which is a good sign, you could say, because the depth is there, and you'd think that they'll all rise together. By the way, it was a rare off night not an off night like they played bad, but an off night like they didn't play, period, for the Mount Pleasant boys.
Saw some of them come over and watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. So the Panther boys will be back in action here pretty soon, and they have not lost in SEC play, so they're on a roll right now, actually.
Yeah, they are.
Speaking of on a roll, you're going to see some good tennis here coming up. I don't even know if you'll see some good tennis. You'll see our hottest tennis team so far is the Fairfield Maharishi girls. They've only played 3, won 8-1 against Albia yesterday, and you're about 2 hours away from seeing those guys, because Maharishi plays Mount Pleasant girls tennis today, and then they're going to turn around on Thursday, and the crosstown war of the city of Fairfield. Saw you just swat that fly out of your face there. I like a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Kind of like a tennis ball. And
Watching really make you want to get out there and just start swinging.
Yeah, that's right. I started playing tennis this summer a little bit. I like it a lot. I actually knew I'd like it when I covered. I'm like, I wish I played this sport. But I use our community racket that we hide in the office. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we couldn't play against each other if we use the same racket, but we buy another one for the office. So Maharishi plays Fairfield on Thursday. I don't know if I said that before I started trailing off into the tennis thing. And that's all we got for tennis, because that's all the teams we got for tennis.
We'll have we got a busy night tonight, and
yes, we do.
And then it's pretty busy the rest of the way out, actually, until track season, and then it slows down a little bit, because then what we have left is soccer, and tennis goes till then, right? Too, or
we get so busy. We like spring season, especially because we get out into the weather and it's actually nice. But I'll say one of my favorite days of the whole year is that first baseball or softball game when I'm sitting in my comfy chair watching.
Your chair.
And it's like a couple days after spring sports have wrapped up, or at least state track has wrapped up. And I kind of get that realization that we're only going to be covering 2 sports.
What's so nice too is when you get to baseball and you get a nice popcorn and a little water, and you're just sitting out there, you get all your photos, and
I wonder how much money I save during spring sports. I don't really eat concession stand food during spring sports. Do you?
No,
because it's only in soccer, and
because usually it's like all the sports you have to, pretty much every sport in the spring you have to be walking around. Kind of, you can't just really sit there. And it's like, I know you and I, we made a couple of trips to the concession stand at Drake and State.
Yeah, don't do that. if you're planning on going to Drake, I would never say to smuggle food. Well, no, I don't want to say that because they'll find this video and revoke my media. They'll revoke my media pass. But it's expensive.
The refill bottle. There you go.
Yeah, it's horrible. And we're always dead tired because it's so hot. And all we're doing during Drake and State is running around because we have so many kids out there that we never get a break.
Nope.
And so it's like 3 p.m. and you're like, I haven't had any lunch. Oh, let me go pay $10 for this
hotel
pretzel.
And you have to write like 12 stories for separate individual winners.
Oh my goodness. What a rush.
We're just complaining now, aren't we?
And now we're just complaining. We're actually pre-complaining because it hasn't even happened yet. And you shouldn't complain about anything because you're not even going to Drake because you're going to the NFL.
I know, but State will be.
But State will be
even worse than Drake because there'll be more people at State. Or I shouldn't say worse, but
it's also kind of like a reunion of it's the only time when all of our schools are at the same place, and so we're really just hanging out with friends. So yeah. And I've got a big day today because I'll be in Mount Pleasant today for the track meet, and then I'll be going to some tennis. Mount Pleasant boys tennis today. I know there's tennis.
I think so.
I know that's what I'm going to. So I just said they'll be back in action soon, and that probably means that they'll be back in action in a couple hours.
I believe so.
But I'm going to sneak off to the 5-year-old soccer games for a little bit. My kid's got a big triple header, so I'm going to go see some youth soccer today as well.
There you go.
So very busy day. And we had a very busy show, but
we did.
Guess what?
Sorry we were a little late.
It's over.
We're like 15 minutes late.
Yeah, we're a little late. Yeah, we do this at 1 p.m. for all you hardcore Southeast Iowa Union sports lovers. We sometimes are a little later than 1 o'clock. That's just because deadline's 1 o'clock, and sometimes we get a little behind like we did today. So usually I think people watch this on replay, although I like our live watchers.
Yeah.
If we get enough live watchers, we could do phone calls.
Good.
Think so?
Oh, man. I know who to definitely call in.
Yeah. Who'd have definitely call in?
No, I know who would.
Oh, who would I know a few people would definitely call in. So we'll bat that ball around a little bit. You know who you are. And I know some people who would call in that we would just not accept. Because
they'd be saying some stuff.
Anyway, that's all for another time. But we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Yep. And one of the Fairfield tennis girls had the Batman hat on yesterday. I should have written down which one it was. But I was like, man, you got to be a certain level of cool to wear a Batman.
Oh, wait, I think it was Una Carter. Because
I think it might have been Una Carter. I was going to say that.
I think when I was out there, she had a Batman hat on.
Yeah, okay, that's good because I regretted I didn't get a great picture of her. I put other kids in, and so I was like, dang it, I hope that's not a one-time thing at the Batman hat.
Yeah,
get it in there.
I'm pretty sure it was her.
Coming to a paper near you soon. All right, I think we're done. All right, see you guys.
We'll see you when?
Next week.
Next week.